When you're a celebrity as big as Prince, it can be hard to keep a secret. The famously private rock star wasn't able to keep all of his personal information to himself after his untimely death. Prince released a whopping 39 studio albums during his lifetime, but they make up just a fraction of the music he created during his long and successful career. After the 7-time Grammy winner died, the Carver County Sheriff's Office conducted an investigation that revealed photo evidence of a secret vault in the basement of his Paisley Park complex. Upon breaking into the vault, investigators found shelves loaded with hundreds of Prince's songs on tape, rare VHS recordings, Batman-inspired tunes, bars of gold, and a Minnesota Twins mascot costume. Prince mentioned his vault publicly in an interview with Rolling Stone in 2014, saying that he, quote, didn't always give the record companies the best song. He elaborated, "Yeah, I like time capsule stuff. I have a couple Revolution albums in the vault and 2 Time albums, 1 Vanity 6 album, and tons of stuff recorded in different periods. But so much gets recorded that you don't have time to compile everything. In the future, you could put all the best stuff from one particular time period together, and then you can release it." You might not realize it because his music videos are so bright and flashy, but Prince was born with the seizure disorder epilepsy. He opened up about this for the first time with talk show host Tavis Smiley, explaining that his parents hadn't prepared for such a situation.
My mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it, but they did the best they could with what little they had.
Prince also explained that his condition helped him create his vibrant brand as a performer. He continued, "From that point on, I've been having to deal with a lot of things, getting teased a lot in school. Early in my career, I tried to compensate for that by being as flashy as I could and as noisy as I could." Prince even mentioned the impact his diagnosis had on him in a song called The Sacrifice of Victor, in which he describes a boy who was epileptic till the age of 7. Prince publicly projected an image of living a pretty clean lifestyle, but according to his ex-girlfriend, Charlene Friend, he would sometimes go for days without sleep, food, or water. She told People magazine that things didn't go so well when she tried to keep up with him, saying, "I had to sneak in cat naps to keep from passing out from exhaustion. The first time that happened, I asked him, 'How do you do this?' Prince answered her with a smile, saying, 'Angel food. Food of the spirit, not of the flesh.'" It wasn't until Friend spoke with Prince's half-brother Dwayne Nelson that she found out the real reason for Prince's round-the-clock energy. Nelson explained to her that Prince was on what he jokingly called the cocaine diet. Friend continued, saying, "It was shocking to me to hear that. He hid it so carefully. I never saw him take even an aspirin. He seemed so health-conscious, always taking vitamins like echinacea and golden seal." In the fall of 1996, Oprah Winfrey and her crew headed to Paisley Park to interview Prince and his then-wife, Maite Garcia. Leading up to the interview, the international media had been abuzz with unconfirmed stories that Prince's son was either dead or suffering from a rare disease. Garcia recalled, "My husband took Oprah on a tour of Paisley Park, and her mission was clear. She'd come to find out if the child was dead or deformed like people were saying. The couple's son had died only days after being born, a tragedy that both Prince and Garcia wanted undisclosed to the public. Prince did his best to create a distraction, which ultimately may have done more harm by causing even more speculation." When Oprah asked Prince about his son's condition, he replied in a pretty strange way.
"It's all good. Never mind what you hear."
The couple later suffered further loss when Garcia had a miscarriage. Both events created tension in their marriage, leading to a divorce 4 years later. While some of those closest to Prince claimed to know of his opioid addiction for some time, others who were just as close said they had no idea. Prince's longtime friend, bodyguard, and closest associate, Kirk Johnson, said he didn't know Prince was addicted to painkillers until a week before he died. Johnson told investigators that Prince wasn't looking great, but he didn't connect it to an opioid addiction until the artist overdosed on his private jet. Johnson and those close to Prince reached out to an addiction specialist in hopes of helping the megastar. According to the New York Times, Prince concealed his opioid addiction by moving his pills into different bottles. His doctor also secretly wrote him an opiate prescription by using the names of his staff. After Prince died, the investigators who searched Paisley Park took pictures of pills that were found in bottles throughout the complex. Most of those pills were in mislabeled containers, and many were counterfeit. Almost a week before his death, Prince's private jet had to make an emergency landing in Moline, Illinois. Hours after he performed in Atlanta, Prince's reps first reported that he'd been experiencing flu symptoms, but it later turned out that he'd been given a shot of Narcan to keep him alive. In a Rolling Stone interview, Judith Hill, a singer and friend of Prince who was also aboard the plane, spoke about the frightening situation. When she and another passenger found Prince unresponsive, they contacted the pilot. She further recalled, "We knew it was only a matter of time. We had to get him down. We didn't have anything on the plane to help him." After the Narcan was administered, doctors urged Prince to stay at the hospital for at least 24 hours so that he could receive proper medical care. Prince stayed defiant, explaining that he was the best judge of his body and that he'd only mixed 2 pills. However, when asked if he wouldn't take any more pills, Prince wouldn't agree. After only 3 hours, he left the hospital and finished his flight home. Prince reportedly told Hill that he was depressed and wanted to sleep all of the time. After their last show, he said he thought he was going to fall asleep while performing. Only 6 days later, Prince died of an accidental overdose of fentanyl in his hometown of Chanhassen, Minnesota.
To you, Prince Rogers Nelson was a celebrity. To us, he's a community member and a good neighbor.
Prince was a known Jehovah's Witness, and he often spent time with his local congregation. Like many members of the religion, he spent some of his free time knocking on doors, proselytizing his faith. In 2003, a Jewish couple in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, ended up inviting Prince into their home after he randomly showed up on their doorstep. Prince tried to convert them to Jehovah's Witnesses, but was unsuccessful after speaking to them for 25 minutes. The wife, Rochelle, recalled saying, "You know what? You've walked into a Jewish household, and this is not something I'm interested in." Prince didn't give up, though, and he left them a pamphlet before presumably moving on to the next home. Another woman in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, claimed that Prince showed up at her door and introduced himself as Brother Nelson. When she asked him if anyone had ever told him that he looked like the iconic musician, he replied, "It has been said." The house from Prince's debut film, Purple Rain, is an iconic landmark and an astounding piece of history for fans of the artist's life and work. Over the years, many fans and collectors dreamed of purchasing it, and just 8 months before Prince died, that dream became a possibility. However, there was only one person who was ever going to secure ownership of the building, and it wasn't one of Prince's admirers. As reported by the Star Tribune, a woman from MPG Music Publishing made an anonymous call to the home selling agent, offering to buy the house right away. The agent found that hard to believe, but still decided to follow up with the woman by giving her instructions on how to finalize the deal. Hours later, the deal was finalized with an offer of $117,000. It was only later that the selling agent found out that the buyer was Prince himself. Even though interior shots from the film were filmed at another location, the exterior of the home remains a part of film and music history. One of the most surprising hidden treasures uncovered by Prince's fans is the sheer amount of charities and organizations that he supported. The reason the world hadn't learned about the artist's philanthropy earlier was simply because he never wanted anyone to know about it. Prince worked with environmentalist and human rights activist Van Jones and supported his organizations Green for All and Yes We Code to help kids succeed in lower-class areas. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Jones explained how their friendship began, which of course was in the strangest way possible. After receiving a $50,000 donation with no name attached to it, Jones returned it, but the money was sent back again. Later, Jones received a mysterious call from a representative for the donor, who stated, "I cannot tell you who the money is coming from, but his favorite color is purple." Jones immediately guessed from the description that it was Prince, and that led to their eventual friendship.
And half the time, more than half the time, 95% of the time, people had no idea where the help was coming from.
Prince wasn't shy when it came to sending large sums of money. He once used $200,000 to turn an old nursing home in Minnesota into a charter school called Harvest Prep and Seed Academy. He also donated to organizations including PETA, Urban Farming, and the Jazz Foundation of America, along with plenty of others. According to activist Toki Wright, when Prince gave, he had only one request: just don't say anything about it. After becoming a Jehovah's Witness, Prince gave up lots of things in order to honor his faith, and one of those things was swearing. According to the BBC, Prince put a container in his recording studio that he and others around him would have to put money into if they were caught using foul language. James Lundstrom, a member of Prince's congregation, said, "He wasn't joking. You had to pay in cash in the bucket. He would charge you between $3 and $10 per swear word. In fact, one time I was carrying some luggage and I bumped my knee and I said, 'Damn.' He said, 'What did you say?' I said, 'That's spelled D-A-M. He was like, Brother Jim. Not everyone was a big fan of Prince's anti-cursing initiative. Lundstrom recalled that one visiting backup singer had a particularly memorable response, saying, "She went to an ATM machine and came with a fistful of $100 bills and everything, and said, 'Take this and put it in your cuss bucket. I'm paying in advance.'" Prince is a man of many names, from his birth name of Prince Rogers Nelson to the unpronounceable symbol he changed it to as a result of a contract dispute. However, there were some he used that he didn't want the public to know about during his lifetime. According to the BBC, one of Prince's many pseudonyms was Peter Bravestrong, a name he used when traveling to protect his identity. That wasn't the only one. as he also gave the monikers Jamie Starr, Alexander Nevermind, and Joey Coco in certain situations. Prince was also very secretive when it came to speaking on the phone, preferring to never use a cell phone after his own was hacked. If he had to, he would often try to disguise his voice. Misty Copeland, one of Prince's dancers, told GQ, "He never called from a number you'd recognize, so you'd never know it was going to be him. Loved to speak in different accents, British and French, everything. Sometimes I'd be, who is this? It would go on for a while, and then finally he'd laugh and it would be him."